Dissolved into the blood and goes from the blood through the heart to the brain.
Because they are vapors, they get into the brain extremely fast. So when people are inhaling them, they get intoxicated almost immediately. This is dangerous because people who are standing up can literally fall down because the effects are so quick. It's not like drinking alcohol or taking a pill where it takes a long time for the effects to come on. The effects of inhalants are immediate.
So the thing about the inhalants is because of the route of administration. You find that it gets into the brain, and literally most of the damage can be done there. It eventually is going to affect the message transmission system to the rest of the body.
One's reaction time is slowed, one's speech is impaired, one's ability to walk is harmed, and ultimately one can go into a coma and even die from a significant exposure of a toxic chemical.
The fact is that the entire body is damaged by inhaling these poisons, not just the brain.
These solvent vapors are very strong, and so people who are sniffing them will irritate their eyes, they'll get runny nose.
You're damaging your respiratory, your lungs, you're damaging your respiratory system, you're damaging your throat.
People will actually get serious damage sometimes to their inside of their nose and parts of their sinus cavities from breathing these strong vapors in there.
You're damaging your brain. Sometimes it affects your eyes because it's a solvent, causes your skin to break out.
The liver is the place where these chemicals are metabolized. And in the process of metabolizing, there's often significant liver damage. And even workers who work with solvents regularly will start to see this type of liver damage. And certainly in solvent abusers it can occur.
With long-term use, there is a potential for individuals to experience significant liver damage, which most often is irreparable.
Many of these young men and women, even if they've stopped using inhalants after, say, a 4 or 5 year run, may have major central nervous system changes in terms of cognition, their ability to think clearly, in terms of nerve function, in terms of mainly whether they can be as athletically coordinated as they might have been before.
Have you ever seen anybody on inhalants? They look like they're intoxicated from alcohol, but they have a distinct odor about them. They're not coordinated, their speech is slurred, their eye control is such that you can look at them, their pupils are wide open. They just don't look right. They're not here. To some degree, they're zombie-tized, if you will.
Besides how they are taken into the body, what else do inhalants have in common? They kill people. Consider this. About 22% of those who die from inhalant abuse do so the first time they try it. The heart just stops. Sudden sniffing death syndrome, as it's known, can happen the first time, or the second, or any time thereafter, which only goes to show abusing inhalants is a crapshoot. Your wager? Your life.
Sudden sniffing death usually refers to a situation when a perfectly healthy person who's otherwise doing fine and normal finds themselves inhaling one of these solvents, and then their heart just stops.
Many of the inhalants function as stimulants, and one of the things that they do, the connection is it causes the heart, for example, to begin to overwork. And with that overworking of the heart and the excessive pumping, etc., so the person can end up also with heart failure.
The normal rhythms of the heart are changed, and when people get up and run or walk or jump or laugh or something, that the heart just stops.
But that's not all. Besides sudden cardiac arrest, there are many other ways to die from huffing inhalants. Motor vehicle accidents, falls, and other traumatic injuries are often suffered by those under the influence. Add suffocation, burns, choking to death on one's own vomit, and even suicide, and the picture painted isn't very pretty. And if that isn't bad enough, inhalant abuse can lead to a slow death from severe brain damage. Exposure to the chemicals found in an inhalant dissolves a protective covering called the myelin sheath that surrounds every nerve cell in the body, including those found in the brain.
Demyelinization results in the actual neurons dying, and then people will begin by losing sensation, movement in their fingers and toes, and then that progressively gets worse as more and more of the neurons die back towards their cell bodies that are in the spinal cord in the brain.
In individuals who have died from these drugs, oftentimes one can see a loss of white matter around nerve cells. This is really a form of brain damage. So these drugs, or these chemicals, damage the brain.
The resulting nerve damage can cause memory impairment, personality changes, loss of coordination, speech impairment, tremors, uncontrollable shaking, seizures, learning disabilities, and hallucinations.
My son Jonathan is my second son. Highly gifted, near genius level IQ, but that wasn't the best part. The best part about Jonathan was his sense of humor and his heart. He's an absolutely amazing person who unfortunately at the age of 14 started to abuse substances. Inhalants are so easily accessible, and that's why they seem to be one of the first drugs of choice of young people. His drug use at first started by himself. He wasn't with a group of people. He started using at home. Jonathan developed drug-induced paranoid schizophrenia. He was diagnosed at 19.
People can begin to have essentially brain damage where they show memory loss, learning impairments, things of that type. Some people who are really heavy solvent abusers really appear to be fairly seriously retarded and not able to function very well.
It is not at all uncommon to see individuals experience long-term irreparable brain damage.
Jonathan now, at the age of 26, is pretty much a shell of the person he once was. Mentally, his ability, he probably reads at about a 4th or 5th grade level now.
Long-term inhalant use can actually result in effects very similar to Parkinsonianism, mental retardation, in people that had absolutely perfect mental functioning before. After long-term use of inhalants, you'll see definite brain deterioration and damage.
That boy could have been anything. He could have done anything. And now he can't even manage to live his own life without a great deal of assistance. I don't know how much more night and day you can get